Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today we are on board Casper, the friendly Spyder, man. Yes, we are. Been doing a little riding around town, had lunch with a friend of mine. I've gotten a couple of emails that have asked me this question, and honestly, I wasn't quite sure how to respond, and so I think I'll respond via video, because I even responded with a question to their question, because I'm more of a facts and figure guy, and this was more of a feeling question. So I'm going to try to address that in the best way that I can without bringing in too many facts and figures for people who are more on the emotional side of buying and emotional side of riding. And I am an emotional rider in the sense that I love what I'm doing. I'm very passionate about riding. But I just thought that the question was phrased in such a interesting way for me, because it's the antithesis of my logical mind. Not to say that there's not logic associated with it. It's just not something that I would ever ask myself. So here's the question: how does it feel to own a Spyder? How does it feel? I'm like, man, what does that mean? Well, before we get going on that question, if you would, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, because that would make me feel good. How's that? How does it feel to get a thumbs up? It feels good. You know, initially when I was looking at that and thinking, if I were to answer in one word about how does it feel to own a Spyder, I would say great. It feels great. But I don't think that's what they're looking for. I think they're looking for more than that. So I'm going to try to hit this in a couple of layers, and we'll see where this goes. All right. So first off, the feeling of when you go somewhere. What does it feel like when you're on a Spyder and you show up? Because that's part of the ownership experience, is that feeling. You know, I'm going to tell you the truth. When I first got the Spyder, I was actually quite self-conscious about it. As you know, I come from a two-wheel background. The guys that I ride with, shall we say, are a little less than politically correct and laughing with you when they see something that they're not real fond of. And I knew they were going to be like, man, if you got a drink holder and a GPS and heated grips and all that stuff, that's not a motorcycle. And so I felt a little self-conscious. I really did. Now, I know all of you out there, you would never feel self-conscious about anything, but I'm just being honest with you. But as time goes by, that feeling of self-consciousness goes away, and there becomes this feeling of pride of ownership. That's a different feeling, right? You show up, you know, and you know you're going to have your naysayers, but they don't mean anything anymore because you're immune to that. You're just immune to it. You know, I actually went to a bike week here last year. I didn't bring this up in the video, but I actually heard two guys talking about, I hate them bleepity bleeping pieces of bleep and the a-holes that drive them. And he was pointing to my Spyder. Now, I don't think he saw me get off the Spyder and I was walking back to it, right? So when I walked up to the Spyder, they didn't say anything. They just promptly turned around and walked away. Did that hurt my feelings? No, but I want you to know there are people who just don't like them. And there are people, motorcycle people, who may look at you and go, because you ride that, I don't want to know you. And that's okay. That's okay. You know, you probably wouldn't want to be friends with that person anyway. But once that feeling of that kind of insecurity goes away and things like that don't bother you anymore, they don't bother me at all, because, you know, to each his own kind of thing. I could talk about cars and that, you know, I had an uncle that would only drive Chevrolets. If you drove a Ford, man, he might disown you. But anyway, then you get to the feeling of pride of ownership. And the feeling that you get when you drive up and you see the faces of the people that really do like them. And you're going to have a lot of people come up to you and go, you know, what is that thing about? How hard is it to ride? And what is it like, you know, when you're out on the road doing big miles, and they hear the stories and all that. Or I get get questions of private emails where people want to know about the long days on it. Owning the Spyder at that moment, those moments, that feels really, really good. This machine has gotten me more compliments and more conversations than any motorcycle I've ever owned. And I've owned some really stellar machines in my lifetime that were quite beautiful. And this one, you know, none of them remotely got the kind of positive comments and receptions that this has. It is, you're just going to get both of these huge swings of both sides of the spectrum. So it feels good, and it feels nice when it's recognized and all that jazz. So that's one of the feelings that I thought about immediately when I got the comment. And then there's the next feeling, the feeling of when you walk out into the garage. You know, this one is the one that I probably relate to the most. When I walk out in the garage, I think about a lot of things. First off, I love going into my garage. I can sit out there with a cup of coffee and literally look at the motorcycles, and it makes me happy. When I see this motorcycle, how does it make me feel when I just see this? You know, it really... It gives me a huge span of emotions because of the memories that I've made on this. You know, Coach Vic and I have crossed the country a couple of times, and we've done some really beautiful trips on this thing. The feeling of taking my children for rides or my grandchildren for rides on this. To my daughter-in-law, you know, who doesn't want to ride on a motorcycle at all. She loves riding on this thing. She loves riding it. She loves driving it. So it's a big deal. That's a big deal. Another thing I feel when I get on it, not only does it make me feel good and nostalgic when I'm in the garage, but when I get on it, I can tell you that this ride on this is less stressful than any motorcycle of any kind that I've ever ridden. It really is. I don't know if it's the fact that you don't have to balance it, that you're not thinking about a lot of things. And I'm going to use this, and please don't, you're going to be like, you don't think about it. I don't really feel like I'm thinking about riding when I'm riding. I'm just doing it. It's an extension of what I am. However, there are obviously things that are going on at a subconscious level and even a conscious level when I ride my two-wheeled motorcycles that it's just completely different when I ride this. So I feel different. I'm going to say this, and this is a strong word, and I know that I could get hit by a bus and get killed right now, but I feel safer on this. I do. I feel safer on this. I believe, statistically, I am safer on this. But I'm trying to stick out of the logic side. I'm trying to go with the feel side, which, like I said, which is not me. That's not how I think. I normally take, you know, a premise and then back it up with statistical data and analysis why it's safer. But it doesn't matter if it's safer or not. If you feel safer, it's how you feel, right? So it is safer, though. I'll let the cat out of the bag. I do have critical data that would prove that this is safer than a two-wheeled motorcycle. But anyway, I feel safer on this motorcycle. I feel like I am putting my spouse's life in less risk. I feel like I am less stressed when I am on here. I worry less about little things. It feels very liberating when you come to grips with what you're riding and you really enjoy it and you're not worried about what other people are going to say or think, and you get on this machine and you ride. It is an experience like no other. And for those who just want to ride, who want to put in miles, trouble-free, hassle-free miles, where you just want to just do your thing, there is no experience like the Spyder. There just isn't. And you can look at my videos from day one about that. This is something that is this relationship with this three-wheeled behemoth that's developed over the years over the last, what, 4 years, 3 years, whatever it's been. It's pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing. Does it ever feel bad? That was the one thing I wanted to kind of address. Does it ever feel bad? Do I ever feel anxious about the Spyder? Because where there's a plus, there's always the minus kind of thing. Do I ever feel anxious? Yeah, I do. You know, I get nervous when it's really, really hot outside. I had a little issue on a bridge one time where it was really, really hot and the machine cut off, and I worry now when I hear those fans cut on. I'm like, am I going to overheat? Am I going to have a running problem because of the heat of the motorcycle? That enters my mind if I'm like in a really horrid hot day where I'm sitting there for an hour and just want to move, and I'm cooking, and so there's a little anxiety there. I'm always anxious whenever, and this is true with all motorcycles too, by the way, for me. Every time I put the key in the ignition, I'm a little anxious with all motorcycles. I want them to crank trouble-free. I've read about the parking brake being an issue on this machine, although I've never really experienced it. I worry about the parking brake sticking in certain conditions. But otherwise, I have no real anxiety about the motorcycle. It's never failed me. It's never let me down. I've never left the house and not made it back. I've never gone on a trip and not made it back home. Everything works on this machine as it should. I mean, the cruise control, the heated grips, the navigation, everything works as it's designed. I don't like the BRP app, you know that. I think it's poop. I just think it's poop. That's all there is to it. When you turn the machine off, it does this. When you turn the machine back on, you're rebooting stuff. It's cantankerous and it's irritating. That's just the way it is. But those aren't feelings. There again, it's very hard for me to stay in the feeling zone. Feelings are nothing more than feelings. How does it feel? I don't know. I'm going to tell you, it's a gray day today, and it's not cold. It's just it's not even brisk. It's kind of wet feeling and warm. It's nice, but the feeling today is just one of pure joy of just being able to ride on it. A feeling of gratitude of having a day that I can get out into the wind and just ride. A feeling of peace and tranquility, even with a guy in front of me that won't go, that he's doing 37 in a 45 while riding his brakes going downhill, you know. Even with that going on, I still have a feeling of wonder on this machine. This machine, another thing a feeling that it does, I'm going to say with a feeling it does not promote, is one of anger and aggressive riding. You know, depending on the motorcycle you're on, I'm going to tell you, if you're on a motorcycle that's 200 horsepower and will do 0 to 60 in like 2 seconds, you get behind a guy like that, you're ready to shoot yourself, man. I'm telling you, you'll go crazy because you just want to go. On this, I don't get that anxiety feeling. Will the Spyder perform? Will it move pretty quickly and all that? It does. But it's not meant to be a drag racer. It's meant to be a tourer. The RT, the Roadster Tourer, that's what I ride, and I love it. It's my Spyder of choice, I'm going to tell you. I love it. I absolutely love my RT. And it does that to me. It calms me down, and it allows me to enjoy my ride. You know, I know that BRP has a lot of little cliche things, you know, advertisement things about, you know, I can't remember all of them right now, but anyway, they have their little hashtags. The hashtag on this is just built to enjoy. This machine was built to enjoy. It wasn't built to race. It wasn't built to be a hooligan. It wasn't built to do anything other than what I'm doing right now. Going for a ride, a nice, wonderful, calm, soothing, fun ride. You can get aggressive in the turns. You can play. But even then, it has a sense of control, of peace about it. So there you go. Did that address what you wanted? Is that what you were looking for? Well, I hope so. Leave some comments below. You own an RT, you own an F3. Tell me how it makes you feel. All right. Well, until then, you do me a favor. You go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams. Eat right. Take care of yourself. And remember, if you're not having fun, you are doing it wrong. Now, you go seize the day, and I will see you on the road real soon. Whoa, 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 feel